Hello and welcome for the very first time to my letter archive. This is so exciting. I can't believe I'm saying this. Today I want to talk to you about the Muse Manifesto guided diary, which is a diary I created kind of as a passion project last month, the month of May. I want to tell you guys all about it. I want to explain its message and its meaning, and I actually decided that for today's video I want to read you the letter that I published to my Substack. It's already been published for a few weeks now. I'm late getting around to this YouTube video. I want to read you the letter because I think that it does a really good job of relaying the message in a very clear, articulate way. Before I read you the letter, I want to say thank you so much to everybody who has pre-ordered the diary. It's so exciting to see something that you've made in real life be so well received by other people. I know that there are audiences out there who really appreciate objects like this that help them with self-improvement and self-development, writers, creators of all kinds. It was really special to me to see my family members and my friends so invested in this project because I didn't really have any expectations for this diary at all. I kind of made it for myself, and along the way, it turned into something really beautiful that I'm super, super, super proud of, and I want to share it with the world. With all of that being said, the Muse Manifesto is on pre-order sale right now until July 7th. I actually extended the pre-order because the shipment doesn't arrive until July anyways, and I'm kind of, again, late making this video, so I thought I'd give you guys more time to get it a little bit cheaper. Okay, so I am going to read you the letter that I published to my Substack, tell you a story, and we can read some of the prompts from the diary so you can know what to expect if you decide to purchase this for yourself or for someone that you love. Here we go. This is letter 1, the Muse Manifesto. I made a guided diary. This is why. There is this unbearable dissonance that builds when we abandon what we know is true, when we turn our backs to the life that quietly calls us toward our actuality. It starts with a flicker, a warning that something is off. Then one morning, you wake with a specific sort of dread reserved only for things that no longer belong in your life. The loss of sleep and no longer interpreting fun as fun anymore. When the things that used to give you comfort or joy are just a nuisance now. Jobs, relationships, cities. The symptoms are especially apparent when we know deep down we're in a carefully constructed costume, reciting a script, playing a part, and betraying ourselves in subtle ways over and over again until we've entirely lost the plot. We do nevertheless have a conscience. There's a part of us that wants the truth, however bitter it might be, a minor part, but a notoriously insistent and ingenious part that won't leave us in peace until its case has been heard. It will, in order to stir us from our reverie, give us all manner of problems, breakdowns, illnesses, twitches, compulsions, in the hope of letting us know that there is something we would benefit from reckoning with. That was from The School of Life. It's a channel here on YouTube, and the video that this excerpt is from is called How Repressed Emotions Make Us Sick. The first time I heard this video, watched this video, it was one of those videos where every line kind of just embeds itself into your cells, and it really hits you and inspires you and causes you to kind of think more deeply about your life and your circumstances. So I thought that was important to include in this letter. Onwards. We are made to think that our decisions are entirely our own independent choices. Free will is but an illusion of full control, and the truth is we are being shaped, informed, and influenced at every turn. You give your head a shake, but that doesn't rid your brain of the sticky, subliminal messages, genius marketing, and addictive apps designed to keep us wired and stuck in this passive, confusing loop. But how does one not lose spirit in everyone else's lives, opinions, energies, and stories then? Is it possible to stay true to oneself, and how can one ever truly know themselves to begin with? Story time. This is also included in the letter, but I know the story. I don't have to read it to you. In January, so that's like, 5-6 months ago now? Wow, we're already 6 months into the year. That is crazy. Mom and I were traveling to Switzerland. We were in the Toronto airport. We were kind of standing in a crowd waiting for boarding to open. I reached inside of my coat pocket to feel for my passport, and it was not there. So I knew at that moment that the trip was going to be off. My heart dropped into my tummy and I told my mom, and we immediately split ways. I went to the bathroom, she went to the restaurant we ate at earlier. We traced our steps. We went to the customer service point and the passport didn't turn up. A year and a half ago, I think, my passport was 3 months until its expiry date, but I didn't know that you couldn't travel outside of Canada and enter different countries and kind of like go to and from other countries and I don't know, I was living in Switzerland at the time and I was traveling to and from London. I guess my passport was in that 3-month window before its expiration date. And they told me when I was trying to go back home to Switzerland from London, they told me that I could not get on the flight and that I had to get a new passport or go back to Canada. And I'm like, well, I'm not going back to Canada. So I ended up having to get an emergency passport in at the Canadian embassy in London, and it costed like $600. So I was not about to go through that whole process on a Saturday in Toronto to get a new passport. The only reasonable decision was to turn around and go back home, which is really, really sad. So the next morning, Mom and I hopped on a plane from Toronto back home, having my coffee and eating my little plain snacks. I'm gonna go back to the letter because I like this part of the letter. Okay. So I opened YouTube on my iPad, knowingly without Wi-Fi, just in case there was an odd chance that something would play. There was one singular video in Smart Downloads that I found kind of strange, but also apt. Not for the circumstance of losing my passport, but I mean just on the general theme of my life. Though I don't align with all of Joe Dispenza's claims or work or studies, there was one statement in this particular video that I watched on the plane that sparked curiosity. And that was, and I think that this is like a popular phrase or statement that he uses, but it was just, I don't remember the name of the video that I watched, by the way. I should try to find it. But the only thing that really stuck out in that video was this statement, which is, your personality creates your personal reality. But does it? Or does your reality shape the way your personality forms? And I was kind of turning this statement around in my head over and over again and thinking of like the more gray area to this statement. I was thinking like for people who, for example, grow up in unhealthy households, or children who are in abusive households, or for people who are, victims of like domestic violence or abuse or anything like that, I'm pretty sure that their reality is what shapes them as a person. And what I mean by that is they are probably developing like really bad habits or addictions like drugs and alcohol abuse, or like anger issues, or falling into a depression, like really struggling with mental health. And so I think in that context, your reality does shape your personality for that group of people who are either victims to like abuse or trauma, and people who are kind of suffering because of these patterns that are building and they're completely unaware of them, or they just don't have the resources to change them. So I felt that this was kind of one of those chicken egg questions, and I felt an urgency to find out my answer. And so I literally started then on the plane, for some reason, looking inwards as a starting point. So for the remainder of the flight, I spent it sorting through all of my Apple Notes, and then when I got back home, I was tearing apart old diary entries from the past 2 to 3 years. And as cliche as that Dispenza statement was, I felt it a personal prompt to get deeper, and so I did. By the way, the kind of person I am is I feel like I'm very open to signs and synchronicities and quotes that might stick out to me. I do really feel like certain things that I see or get inspired by are prompts just for me to explore deeper. By mid-April, after letting patterns seep and sort themselves, letting my words and revisited experiences marinate in my mind, I landed here. Until you cultivate self-awareness, your reality is absolutely shaping you more than you are shaping it. Yeah. It sounds basic at first, but becomes deep when you really see how much you're missing by performing a version of yourself that you don't even believe in, when you realize how long you've been living a life that doesn't feel like yours, or living in a body you don't recognize or cherish because you're so detached from it, and living your routines on autopilot, just letting life kind of pass you by. Without knowing your own values, needs, desires, and pain, you automatically become more susceptible to developing chronic mind-body sickness. I have descended into this dark place because of a young mind, and I have since ascended to someplace more solid, someplace beautiful that I enjoy being. I arrived here in this better, more soulful and whimsical state by asking better questions about everything. About who I am, about who I was, about what I had been pretending not to want or to need. I asked about what's not working anymore. I was honest. I asked myself where the ache was, confronted my wounds, and I asked myself finally, where is the bleeding? What is happening in my life that needs to change? What are my symptoms? Looking inwards, asking myself the hard questions about my life and my circumstances, and that is self-awareness. And so back to the earlier point of people who are struggling with their situation of like abuse and or trauma or bad habits, until you're self-aware and you start questioning your circumstances. Is this healthy? Is this not healthy? Like, is my behavior normal? Is it not normal? Obviously, it's not as simple as that, and I totally appreciate that and respect that. Like, each case is different, and it's hard for people to kind of lift the blindfold to their reality, or it's kind of hard for people to stop being in denial about certain things, or it's just super painful. I have compassion and empathy for everybody and their circumstance, their unique circumstance. But I do think that the people who come out on the other side and live more positive, more meaningful lives, healthy lives, have started with a self-awareness and seeking out help, seeking out resources, seeking out therapy, seeking out perspective, to open their mind to new possibilities. You are the art and the artist, the architect of your dreams. The answer you come up with to your own questions may change. Actually, most will over time, but that is growth you can be proud of. You may not have answers yet, but the odyssey is in the finding out. Shaping your life starts with shaping your knowing. And so I think in most ways in this context, Joe Dispenza is right. Your reality is a result of your personality. It's like that quote by Henry David Thoreau, "The beauty recognized everywhere is the beauty within you," something to that effect. And I love that one because fact, the most beautiful people notice more beauty. The most beautiful people are self-aware, and the more developed your personality, the more intimate, fulfilling, and vibrant your life will be. Bring your sensitivities, quirks, emotions into everything that you do. Paint your surroundings with your own unique perspective and heart. Look at your life as a canvas and ask yourself, do I like the art piece in front of me? When you know who you are, as best as you can with the control that you have, you become less seduced by approval and you stop being someone that you secretly resent. Instead, you become the most rebellious, healing, luminous, magnetic thing just by being radically, unapologetically yourself. The raw, naked, original you that is actually interesting and needed. I realize that I've been doing this for years, building a bridge back to myself, question after question after question, one courageous step at a time. And I don't think, by the way, we celebrate enough how brave it is to do such a thing, to kind of look at yourself and be like, this is what I am, this is what I struggle with, this is what I'm good at, this is what I need help with, and this is ultimately who I am. I've been making sense of things slowly, drawing conclusions even if they're only temporary. I've been gently chiseling away everything that isn't me. I've been studying myself like an art worth understanding, and I've come to learn that I am an interesting piece, and so are you. Somewhere along the way, only recently, I realized that I have become the kind of woman who knows and expresses precisely what she needs and then builds a life from there. And I'm really proud of that. And I think that because of that, I'm receiving more of the abundance that I long for in many different ways, from my family, my girlfriends, the babies and children in my life, through the work I'm doing and the fun I'm having and the places that I've gone and that I'm going. I see now how so much of it grew from self-study followed by experiment of pure self-expression. And what I mean by that is looking inwards and studying myself, studying what I like, what I desire, what I need, and then trying to express myself in the world from the answers to those questions. Who am I? What do I desire? What do I need? And being honest with people in my life, being honest about the things that I like, being honest about material things that I like, and not hiding my personality, not watering it down. Muse Manifesto was never a plan, but after enough notes, pages, patterns, and painful truths, there was a collection of questions and answers of my own that was becoming something more. Every prompt in this diary is something that I've asked myself at one point or another, and it's filled with questions that are meant to be invitations to feel, imagine, and declare. Muse Manifesto is not a labeled tool with tabs and such and such and such and such. Life doesn't work that way. It's messy, mysterious, and I wanted the diary to feel the same kind of way, surprising, poetic, and a little confrontational. Flip to a page, read a question, let it settle into your heart, and then write when you're not rushing and get into a flow. Feel what you want as you go, visualize it, and press play on all of the scenes. Be as wild, contradictory, tender, bold, soft, vivid, obsessive. Be as honest as you should be as honest as you need to be. Who are you? That's it for the letter. So hopefully you have a better idea now of why I created this diary in the first place. It started off with, asking myself a bunch of questions about me and going through all of my notes and finding that really I've been asking myself questions this entire time about my reality, about my personality, about my habits, about my likes and dislikes. That is something everybody can be doing. Everybody can be expanding their knowledge about themselves. And I think that if everybody knew themselves better and expressed themselves honestly in the world, we would honestly have a better world. Also, something interesting that my mom said was that she thinks this will be super popular among my generation. Mom? This diary is for everybody. I market it towards women because I am a woman. I love women. I think they're fascinating and interesting. I want them to be the most free and abundant, beautiful versions of themselves. But realistically, this diary is for everybody who wants to go deeper within themselves and find their own answers. You're watching and you're 14 years old and you're just entering, your teenage years. If you're in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, if you're 100 years old and there's still more you want to know about yourself and about life, this is for you. My mom continued to challenge me. She was like, well, I don't know how to answer some of these questions. Some of these questions are not for me. And my advice for you, if you are thinking the same thing, or you read through the diary, you receive it, and you're like, well, I don't know how to answer that, do not take the questions so literally. This is for you to make it, personalize it, make it you. And my mom's friend was here for this conversation, and we flipped to a random page, and the page was something about what does a good leader look like to me, or what is a good leader to me, something like that, and how do I embody those traits? And my mom goes, well, I'm an introvert and I don't really like to lead. That's not really my thing. So exactly. And so her friend says, you don't have to take it in the context of like politics or the corporate workplace or working amongst coworkers or a university project. Like it could literally be, her friend says, that you don't like people, but you like dogs and you have a dog and you're a dog trainer. And so for you, being a good leader is about how you gracefully and patiently train this dog and how you lead it down the street on its lead. And yeah, I thought that was actually really interesting. I really want you to make it all about you. So I flipped to a random page to hopefully help you understand what I mean. So this prompt is, what are my ideas of success? A lot of people think of success and they're like, millionaire, house, fancy cars, traveling, like partner, kids, like whatever that is. But you answer what success means for you. Maybe it's having absolutely none of that. Maybe it's living off the grid by yourself in a little cottage home with 4 cats and 2 dogs, and you live off of your little garden. Like, I don't know. The point is to hone in on your own uniqueness. And that's what I think is so beautiful about this, is that if I collected 100 of them and flipped through 100 of them, the answers would be so vastly different. And I think that's really beautiful. So if you or someone you know is in a tender place and you're looking to, up your confidence or know yourself better, because I do think that when you know yourself better, you become more confident, and that's very powerful. So if you or someone you know is looking for something to help clarify ideas and just become a better you overall, become self-aware, this is a very, very, very soft starting place. And if you are absolutely resistant to the idea of journaling or writing, that's okay. At the very, very, very least, it's a very pretty object that you can use to decorate your home. So again, the diary is on pre-sale right now. You can order it from my website, www.pressiasletter.com. Thank you so much for watching. And if you want to read the letter again, it's in my Substack. The link will be in my description. And I hope that you order the diary for yourself or someone you love and kind of follow along with my journey of future videos to come. My next video will be on sensuality, which I'm super excited about because I have been writing little tidbits about what it means to be sensual, what I think sensuality is, and it's really important to me. So I'm excited to share that letter with all of you and speak about it in my next video. So you can look forward to that. Anyway, thank you so much again. Be gentle with yourself, and I love you. Ciao.